to go.
You know who probably... Oh, okay.
I have a question for you. The
say-
space is really small. When you have your kid, do you think you're gonna want big houses right now for sale, $0 for you for free right now?
Intruding pop-up ad on a website. I need you to go.
Yeah.
Tell you what, this is the warmest baby shower I've been to in a long time.
Warmest, really? I have this fridge.
Wow.
Oh, I hate when people's voices do that.
If you need to
Oh no.
cool anything.
Put me in the fridge.
I was just saying it could open. Okay.
Sorry, that's hilarious.
No, it's fine. Hyena man. Nope.
Oh! Welcome back to Why Is That Funny? I'm Cal Hoffman and I built Rome in a day. What amazing timing that this video would come out from Smosh right when this channel is starting to get up off the ground. I've been getting so many comments from people asking what is the difference between short form and long form improv? And I've been dying to see the Smosh cast do some longer sets of improv that aren't just the micro stuff that they do on Try Not to Laugh. But if these are longer scenes they're doing and I'm calling it short form improv, then what the heck is happening? What does that even mean? This is going to be a great chance to talk about all that kind of stuff. And if you're new here, Why Is That Funny is a show where we talk about the mechanics of comedy, why things make us laugh, evolutionarily speaking, communication-wise, how we communicate with one another as an audience through laughter, and how improvisers and other comedians communicate with one another through hidden techniques and hidden language that they're using. This is going to be so much fun. Let's do it.
Okay, so game number 1 is going to be party quirks.
And party quirks. Okay, so Chance is going to be the host at a baby shower, and the others are going to come in with something that we know their character is, but Chance doesn't, and he has to guess.
Shit, I'm not ready. Hi.
Whoa, I'm so excited for your baby shower.
So Courtney is a kid desperately
I think
trying to get on the
baby's gonna play
Jumbotron.
basketball. Wait, I think it's happening. Dang, I missed it. Anyways, is that
We're
a
hoping-
lemon?
Yes. I'm making fruit tea.
Amazing.
Do you
I
like
love
fruit tea?
I think it's happening.
What? Oh,
Oh, dang it. Row in front
Ding dong.
sorry.
So the basics of why this is all happening and why it kind of gives us a little bit of a tickle, even if there's not jokes happening. So comedy is all about tension and release. Comedy is very similar to horror, if you think about it. Horror, we know when we're supposed to be feeling a bit of build-up of tension because the killer is coming, right? Or we think they're about to, we're getting the signals that there's about to be a scare. And then it happens, we get the release and it feels good, like we wouldn't watch it otherwise, right? Often in the long form improv that we've watched so far on the channel, and please go check out the videos if you haven't already, there's some great stuff that we've analyzed so far. The comedians are figuring out for themselves why a scene is going to be funny, and they're kind of creating the rules for the game on the fly. That's why we call it game of the scene, when they find a pattern, like my character is just crazy about cheese, and he's just going to mention cheese any moment he gets. So once we've established as players and an audience, oh, that's the funny thing, the audience is starting to feel like, okay, when is he going to start bringing in, how is he going to find a link back to cheese? There's a little bit of a tension here. And then somebody says something that we're like, oh, that could be a link in. So that's more tension. And when he then says, oh, cheese, then we get the release of like, yeah, that's the thing that's happened. And that's when the laughter comes out. That is a game of the scene that they've created in long form. Short form is short because even if the scenes are longer, the route to what that game is short. We're given what the game is. The game here is, will Chance guess or not? And will we get recognition for what the quirks are that these party guests have? So we know Courtney is playing a kid, and that's been announced to us as the audience, that is desperate to get on the Jumbotron. If this was on stage, Chance would be out of the room or wearing headphones or something, so the whole audience would see that. And so every time Court makes a reference, even if it's just like, oh, it's happening, that's not a joke. That doesn't have the tension and release of like setup and punchline, but it is a moment for us of being like, oh, we recognize that. So it's kind of a little bit of reference comedy. And oh, is Chance going to get that? No, probably not. So that's funny for us. And that flows on. There's so many different types of short form games that get played, but that is what is basically at the bottom of all of them. The foundation is, will they fail? It's not real stakes, and there's no actual failure. Actually, because of how this works, short form improv is kind of the easiest to be successful at, because whether someone guesses right, that feels great to the audience because it's like, wow, yes, celebration. Or they guess wrong or completely struggle and fail, that's still, yay, that's fun. All of this is like, I liken this often to peekaboo, playing with a kid, or chasing them around the living room going like, I'm gonna get you. There's no actually like, you're not gonna eat that child. But it's fun for both of you.
If you could just hold these lemons, yeah.
Oh my God!
I just want to say a little bit of nice. They're still doing good improv fundamentals. There's still Chance started the whole thing by speaking to his offstage partner, presumably, and then being like, "I need to make some fruit tea." And Court's gone, "Ooh, is that a lemon? Are you holding a lemon?" So Court also is adding in. Court's got their character stuff from the party quirk that they need to lean into quite hard, but they're also participating fully in the scene and still adding in details so that there's less chance of like dead air later on where people are trying to figure out what to say, what to talk about.
Congratulations!
Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm good.
Angela is a person looking for a phone charger.
Look at this. I love hanging out in the kitchen. Lots of outlets.
Yeah. Oh. Do you need to...
I'm so excited. I hope. Do you have a photographer? Because my phone is low on battery.
Okay.
So if you guys are gonna take pictures.
And you know what? There's an outlet right there, and there's an outlet over there.
Cool.
Yes.
I'm so excited. I'm gonna have some chips.
Okay, great.
Angela was doing a bunch of great stuff there, so immediately on coming in, established that this is in a kitchen. Yes, they talked about making fruit tea, but they arguably could be at the table. I always, in party quirks, imagine that we're in a sort of like big entrance hall, and there's people are generally doing something at a counter, but I always sort of imagine that as being at one of those like tables with big white plastic table or whatever that you set up for a party. So it's really useful for everyone, not just for her game rule that she's trying to meet, her task of being person looking for phone charger. It is useful for everyone to help create the reality of that scene. So again, if we're just moving around, like you never want to be thinking, what is the next thing I'm going to say? What am I going to talk about? If somebody's already given you, this is a kitchen, then immediately you have more things to hand. You have like cutlery and plates and things to hand, things that you can use in the game that you're then playing. And I want to mention the contrast between how Angela is playing the game, which is so just dead on the nose, just like, my phone is out. She's looking for a phone charger. So she's like, my phone is out of battery. There's loads of outlets here. That again, that's funny for us because contrast this time is coming from how Courtney is playing the game. Very character driven and behavior and act like they're doing a great voice for the kid, and how we might expect to do it of like, oh, the rules are supposed to be like, surely you can't just say the thing. So that also builds up tension for us as an audience, which gets released in the form of laughter. And again, there's recognition there. There's like this is conversely to the Jumbotron thing, which is something that a person that you might see out at a game somewhere. I mean, not here. We don't have that in the UK, I don't think. But you know what I mean? That person looking for a phone charger, that's totally like, we can see that. We've probably been that person at a party. So that's pretty funny too.
Hello. Oh, hi.
Hi. There are new hot divorced singles in your area.
It's covered by the captions. Oh, Tommy is random website spam clickbait. That is lovely. What a nice idea.
May I come in? Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes. Pretty far along.
Big fat for you. Here.
Sorry. I don't think we've met. Maybe you're friends of Michael's.
So while the contrast always of we know what this is and Chance doesn't, that's always there. And the contrast, the stakes of will he succeed, will he fail, that's always there. All of these things are contributing to the laughter. Just like there was a contrast between Angela's on the nose but realistic and Courtney's realistic but quite character driven. Tommy's no human is ever going to even talk like that, just ever. So that stands in big contrast again from what we've just absorbed from the last couple of characters playing. I wonder if he was the first person on stage, maybe he could assume, and especially because you're going to know what the other quirks are, you can kind of make some guesses about how people might play those. So maybe he would still know it would be a contrast, but I wonder if he were the first one going going on stage if he would have played it quite the same way, if it would have felt like as big of a contrast or as big of a payoff for him to come out with this much more like inhumanly in your face approach to this quirk.
I love Michael. He's great.
Oh.
We interact a lot.
Oh, do you?
I'm Jumbo.
Hi, Jumbo.
Hi, Jumbo.
Jumbo, cool.
It's in your
like
face.
this? Oh, yes, come on in, Jumbo. Do you like this orange?
Maybe this will get their attention.
Oh, okay. Hello, sorry.
So what happened there? Courtney, before in the world building, Chanse was already holding something and had said that he was making fruit tea, and Courtney named it a lemon. For all we know, it was a lemon. I think he was even like doing something like that, probably an orange. But Courtney named it. So Chanse is now just grasping like, was that part of the character quirk or not? But it's still useful whatever the answer is, because Court has done exactly the right thing of, if Court had just taken it and been like, no, or like, no, not really. Okay, it's true in a sense that nudges us towards the truth of what this character is, but the actual great thing that they did was use that as a stimulus to then play their character again, like find some sort of link into what their character actually is trying to do. And so that is great as a help for Chanse. It's great for us as an audience, because the tension there of will Court make something out of this would have just fallen flat. There wouldn't be enough of a push in either direction, yes or no, if they'd just been like, So to see them actually turn that back round in the direction that we knew they'd already been going in, that brings us a little bit of release again to that tension.
Keep you waiting.
Hey.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Trevor is person who's trying out new laugh.
How excited are you to get this baby out?
Oh, that's right. It's
As
baby shower.
excited as any mother could be. It's been 9 months, so.
This is so exciting. Are you excited for the baby? Like, do you have like everything up to date? Like, do you have
Same
Kiss
question you guys asked
Everything's-
me.
Kiss cam. Anybody?
I'm married.
Desperate for a kiss? Ladies are ready for you right now.
Oh, you know, person at a base.
Court cut right over Trevor and Angela there, and that was kind of a good moment to do that, I think, because their improv instincts, I think, had taken over. The three of them, Trevor and Angela and Chanse, had gotten into like scene work and were just kind of relating as humans, as characters. So none of that was really adding towards the gameness of it all. So whether as an audience we're thinking about this consciously or not, that's again building up the tension. It's a lower level tension, but it's still a tension of like, how is this contributing to the game? When are we going to get back into the game? So to just yell out "kiss cam" is such a big in-your-face way, and Tommy piled right on top of that again with his bizarre stuff. He's starting to read a lot more like ads on a prawn site to me than spam, but I think it still worked.
Ball game, trying to get attention, trying to get on the Jumbotron. I think.
Oh wait, Jumbo's leaving.
How are you, Seth?
Wait, Jumbo is
I'm gonna ask
leaving.
Jumbo what phone they have. Do you have a 15 or 14?
I would keep people on stage for this because it's useful sometimes if the person is really struggling. Every set of interactions that you take off the stage, like set of potential interactions that you take out of the picture, reduces the options that each person has to demonstrate what their thing is. And so it actually can get hard. And, you know, the last person that is left to be guessed is usually left last because the guesser is struggling the most with that, right? So it's often very helpful to have at least one or two other people still there to kind of interact with them. But, you know, the rules are the rules. They're doing it this
I
way.
have a 16, actually.
Oh,
Because
got it.
sneaks
Got
out
it.
from the house.
That's you.
Just come out.
Did you need girl who needs to charge her phone? Okay.
Good job.
I have to go.
You know who probably. Oh, okay. I have a question for you. I was gonna
The
say.
space is really small. When you have your kid, do you think you're gonna want big?
We got a little bit of meta humor from Angela here because again, like it feels incongruent, like in a scene as well. So talk about improv instincts taking over. She's successfully done her thing. She's played her game rule. She's got guessed, and great job. Well done. It's an unnatural thing for a character to just immediately leave the party that they've just arrived at there. So she's given it emotional stakes for her character. Like, she doesn't actually give a proper reason why, but she's given a justification for leaving in the form of, I'm leaving because this is extremely important for my character. I have to go. And grounding, personal stakes, justification, these kind of can all be different words for the same thing, gives us enough contrast that it becomes a laugh. If she'd just gone off, just stormed off, it might have been like something a little bit noticeable, maybe even got a little bit of a giggle if it was very dramatic. But to give enough normalcy of like, yeah, in a normal world, people would care about where they're going and what they're doing and why, especially if it stands out a little bit. And then to do the dramatic exit is the contrast of weirdness against that normalcy that produces the laughter.
I have to go.
You know who probably... Oh, okay.
I have a question for you. The space is really small. When you have your kid, do you think you're gonna want big houses right now for sale, $0 for you for free right now?
Intruding pop-up ad on a website. I need you to go.
Yeah.
You're very inappropriate.
Made that nice and easy.
Over here, this way.
Hey.
I tell you what, this is the warmest baby shower I've been to in a long time.
Warmest, really? I have this fridge.
Wow.
Oh, I hate when
This
people's
fridge
voices do
here
that.
if you need to
Oh no.
cool anything.
You want me to cool off in the fridge? You're gonna put me in the fridge?
I was just saying it could open. Okay.
Sorry, that's hilarious.
No, it's fine. Hyena man. Nope.
Oh no, his vocal folds are doing things that no person's vocal folds should be doing. Let me tell you about a phrase that I don't think I've used on the channel before, which is, if this is true, what else is true? A technique that we apply to game of the scene where we're not playing like rules-based games like this, we're playing the long-form style game that I mentioned before. We've found our own funny thing to play with, but so that it doesn't get one note, you need to find other angles onto it. So if this person is trying out new laughs, and that's true, what else is true? Okay, the thing that's also true is when they arrive at the party, they're going to physically do all the different laughs. Okay, great, we've covered that. It's got a laugh. Each new laugh, okay, there's a mini, if that laugh sound is true, what else is true? The different kinds of laugh sounds that they get. And if there's enough contrast from the other ones that he's done, then those will get laughs. But also that contrast needs to be heightened. It doesn't mean every different laugh needs to be bigger and louder necessarily, but it needs to be more unexpected than the one before. And that gets harder and harder and less playable as time goes on. So what we really need, and this really helps with the guessing of it all as well, is something else that would be true about that character. So if I'm playing this, if it's true that I'm trying out all these different laughs that I've physically done them all, maybe it's also true that it's because I'm insecure. So I'm going to ask questions like, did that one do anything for you? Well, what do you think of that? Doesn't this laugh make me cool? You know, that kind of thing. And if it's true that I'm insecure about my laughter, maybe it's also true that I don't understand how laughing works or why people laugh or something like that. You know, all of that gives extra contexts into what it is that you're doing and why, as opposed to just the one thing. That's useful in a guessing game exercise, but it's ultra useful just in comedy in general, because the funniest thing in the world, if it's done too many times, is going to start being unfunny.
I don't know.
That all the guests.
Yeah, it's like everybody left. Is there anything I can help you out with?
You could actually grab those crackers right there.
Grab those crackers. Hey.
Guy who...
Get it?
Ding dong.
Sorry.
You want me to get that?
Yeah, you can get that.
That was a heightening of it. I don't know that he'd done at least nearly that much physical of an aspect to the previous laugh. So you see what I mean? It gets harder to heighten what it is that you're doing. He also he was heightening the contrast by making that a much quieter and like more staccato laugh than he had been doing for most of the rest of them. But it does get challenging.
Hey, sorry, my phone's low on battery and I'm waiting for the Uber, so I just need a little bit of a hit.
I mean, it's a house and it's 2026. There's got to be a charger.
Are you trying it out? Like a new something?
No, that's how I laugh. That's how I've always laughed.
Oh.
Guy who's trying out new laughs.
My Uber's here.
Trying out new laughs.
That was hard.
Crazy.
That was tough.
can Angela do that? Can she come in and just break the rules of the game? The rules are there to give us something to care about by default, to give us some tension. To break the rules of the game is giving us a contrast to the rule of the game, which again breaks the tension, releases that laughter that's being stored up in us. Trevor did a funny thing. Now, I'm going to say this with love because this is something that I've struggled with personally, historically, and I work hard when I'm on stage to not do this kind of thing. It's so difficult to work with subtlety. Check this out.
It out like a new something.
No, that's how I laugh.
Playing with subtlety of like no, saying no, that's how I've always done something, but trying to have it read as that you're being duplicitous about that and that's not actually true. It's so hard. To his credit, he immediately like does no, that's how I've always laughed, and then does another laugh that was totally different from the last one, and we've got all this history of all these other laughs being totally different from one another. So there's enough there. But I just wanted to point this out as a learning point for people watching. That in sketch, if you're writing something or in a script for like a full TV show, you have the chance to really refine it and get multiple takes or, lots of rehearsal for a stage play to get the right nuance across that it makes it read in the way that you're imagining it reading. In improv, you have one opportunity both to put the words in the right order and get the delivery out there, that it's a really risky move. So I would say try and be as plain as you can, and you'll very often see super experienced improvisers just saying the thing. Like it flows right over your head because it feels, for what we need in the improv of it all, it feels natural enough, but actually no one talks like that when they say, I'm really mad at you because of how you always do this one thing and whatever, as opposed to being like subtle about it. So just something to keep an eye on.
We are going to move on to game number 2. It is called Stunt Doubles.
So this is, I would call this a
I'll
pimping
hold
game.
these two now.
I wish we had a better word for
Let's get a
this.
suggestion for these two to get started.
Bootyville.
I heard the gym.
The gym, yeah. We need something a little grounded, a little realistic.
Leg day.
Why do we not want something crazy like Bootyville? Because if it's already crazy, then there's not enough contrast to make us laugh. Because maybe when they start getting people to do weird stuff as the stunt doubles, we're gonna imagine, seems like the kind of normal thing that could happen at Bootyville. So we need the contrast, we need grounding. I called this a pimping game. Bear in mind, all these these categories don't exist necessarily. This art form is so young in the form that we're doing it these days. So a lot of this is undocumented. We have books, I have a whole bunch of them, but still it's always evolving. So when I say something like this is a pimping game, don't assume that's what others, like if you go and say that to an improv teacher that you have, that they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So a true classic one that we'll see is slideshow, where you're giving a TED talk, or maybe your character is like showing people snaps of the family holiday that you've just come back from, and as you're talking, you'll be queuing up the other improvisers. Maybe there's 2 or 3 people off to the side of you that are ready to act out or show this, get themselves into the freeze frame, if potentially, of the thing that you've just described. And the whole joke here, the tension and release, is coming from what crazy situations we can get the other person into. Pimping as a phrase, it has a very negative, potentially negative implication if you're trying to get someone, like you're just being mischievous with people on stage for the sake of it, and there's not a consent element there. We'll see in future videos, I'm certain, a lot of examples of it being done between people that know one another well. In fact, I have a video planned where it's one of the players' main thing that they do always is getting other people to do things that are going to be like difficult or embarrassing or whatever, and that's fun for us as an audience because we know, oh yeah, these people have that in hand, I'm sure they can do it, or they're going to enjoy making a big deal of the fact that they can't do it, all of that kind of thing. It's safe, but still the mischief, they're like, oh, will they do it or not? That's still a point of tension for us to get some release from. But if you just go to like a jam, which is a type of show where the audience are able to get up on stage and do the thing, and people might be playing together that have never even met before, you don't don't want to be doing that. So please, if you've not played with a player before, don't be saying things like, didn't you just tell me last night you had written a poem for me? Why don't you tell it to me now? Or show me the practice that you've been doing of your Shakespearean iambic pentameter verse. Or sing me that rap song that you're always singing. All that kind of stuff, that's bad pimping. This, because it's the rules of the game, and we know that it's being done because the whole point is to try and make people fail, this is a safe scenario. And as we go on, I bet we're going to start like small and simple, and the heightening of this game is going to come from making the prompts from their part more and more detailed and specific and challenging.
Oh yeah, let's go. Let's get our quads upped and our booties out.
So excited, bro. It's good to be away from both of our wives.
Yes, just you, me, and a bunch of metal and cables.
Metal and cables.
Metal and cables, protein shakes. Mind if I work it in here?
Please get in there.
I think I'm gonna start with a bit of a lat pull. You know, I love
Yeah, totally.
bring
Lat
it
pull,
on
lat
down.
pool, lat pool,
Stunt
pool,
double,
pool.
court.
Careful there, bud.
Clearly never been in a gym.
Hey, whoa. Hey, do you need a spotter? Do you need a spotter?
Yeah. Stunt double, Angela. Stunt double's out.
Now, so I want to point out the comedy here isn't really necessarily coming from what funny things they physically do. I was trying to describe this before, but the comedy really is in what are they going to ask them to do. With all of the short form stuff, it's not like the specifics of the outcome. It's not the specifics of whether Chance guessed or not. It's the journey there. The peak of this kind of comedy flow, this rhythm of up and down. We're now in a down, we're going to reset, do a little bit of normalcy, and then find a new thing to play with. The peak of that comedy flow is in the exact moment where they say, oh, I'm going to do this, and this thing, and it's going to have this detail to it. Because as an audience, we're imagining that is going to be so silly for the next people to try and interpret into physical movements. That's where the peak is.
You know, sometimes I really love when we kind of scrap the whole workout routine and just do some aerobics, some moving around.
I love when you do cardio. You always jump around like a little freak and sound insane.
Yes, it's good for my immune system. Well, let me
You
show
see
you
the
how
laugh
I do it
happened there.
nowadays.
Stunt double, court.
Show me. Yeah. It's an interesting run. Yeah. What?
Oh no, the treadmill.
Wait, are you gonna fall? Let me help you.
Stunt double, Angela.
Of course, it does help if the funny thing that gets done is so much of a contrast from what we're expecting. That will make us laugh as well.
Wow.
Yeah, wow, that felt really good.
That was weird. Could you show it to me again?
No.
Oh, weird.
That's pure mischief.
It's not working. No, I think you should have turned it on. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Oh, no, what? Oh, are you okay? Oh, no, I'm about to fall.
Stunt double, Ange.
Now we need some contrast again, I think. So again, comedy is all about the contrast. There's not enough times that I can say that in a
Switch out with
video.
court, Trevor.
I think Arasha as the director, we would call this in a short form game, Arasha is playing the role of director, which is just as much of a performer as the people actually doing the thing, because they need the timing, they need to identify what is needed in the scene at that moment. What happened here is Angela asked for that move, that physical stuff to be done again. And that is a great joke. It got like a big extended laugh in the room there and made me laugh as well. Because it's a contrast from what we are expecting as an audience of, okay, we've seen that fun thing happen. What's the next fun thing that's going to be done? We're not expecting to see the same thing again. And elevate that of like, that was such a great fun thing. We're kind of sad to see it go. So, oh, there's a big surprise and it's come back. And that lifts us up as well. And for Chance, that would have been quite physically tiring and maybe not literally embarrassing, but kind of like faux embarrassing. So so him feeling like, oh, I get to move on from that now, and being asked to do it again can kind of play up this whole thing of, oh no, I don't want to. And we as the audience get to experience that by proxy for him. But because we've seen it before, again, it is the journey to it that is the funny bit. Once it actually starts happening, we as the audience go like, oh yeah, we know this. So we're now seeing like, oh, what brings in contrast. Arasha is doing some stuff of like swapping out what stunt doubles are in, who's not. But it was still like Chanse is doing the running, the Angela or Trevor is doing the falling. But that was what happened last time. So I think we need something different.
I have noticed you two from across the gym. I am Mr. Cirque du Soleil. And I think you two have what it takes, but first, I will need to see you audition. So if you have something in your back pocket, I will be sitting over there between 4 chairs, watching to see if you are the next Cirque du Soleil.
The next
The next Cirque du Soleil. Oh wow, that was beautiful. What a support move. I've mentioned, you know what, I'm desperate to make a video on support moves themselves, because we've had a couple of great examples on the videos. Go check out the Make Some Noise video with, in fact, either of the two Make Some Noise videos with Zach and Brennan, Zach Oyama, Brennan Lee Mulligan, where Josh Rubin has done support moves. But it's such a great thing when other performers can bring things on track. And I gotta say about Tommy, of the improv that I've seen of him, it's a shock to think that he wasn't originally a part, like he has got like a business job at Smosh, and for a long time I don't think was part of the performing cast, which is wild when you think about how much unscripted stuff they do and what a beautiful improv performer he is. So I mean, look, maybe I'm giving more credit than is needed, but I am imagining he's seen from the sidelines what's needed in this moment. The fact that we're retreading ground, but we in fact want to be moving forward, finding new things. And so he's come in and done that, and he's brought like a dynamic, interesting character, which then reinvigorates the scene and strikes up our attention as viewers, as Mr. Cirque du Soleil, and said something funny about, I'll be sitting over there between 4 chairs, which is just jokey on its own. All of that is great stuff, and this is bringing back in the tightness that this scene needs of finding new contrast. When we're performing, we're not actively thinking about the contrast, right? I probably should make that clearer. I talk about it a lot, but it's like chefs cooking, but they're not mentally thinking about the physics generally. They're thinking a little bit, they've got a sense of heat and what happens when you boil water and stuff, but they're not picturing the particles, right? And it's the same thing. The performers aren't in that scene going like, is it playable really for me to get Chanse to repeat that jumping thing? No. But when you're outside, it's a little bit you have a clearer vision slightly of what's needed, and being ready to jump in, put it back on the rails, and then leave again. Beautiful. Thank you, Tommy.
Next Cirque du Soleil.
The next Cirque du Soleil.
It's finally happening.
The next Cirque du Soleil is iconic also.
That takes a whole minute?
Yes. What do we call it again? What do we call it? We call it the soaring over California.
The soaring over California. Yes.
Okay.
And
that was Court trying to do another short formy thing, which is, so we often can inject like micro short formy games into a scene. It could be injected into a long form scene. Again, I have a video planned where the same performer that I was saying does a lot of like pimping type stuff. He also does a lot of that type of thing of like, let's say the same thing at the same time. And because it's short form still, once again, it doesn't matter if it works or not. It doesn't matter whether they actually succeed or not, whether they do say the same thing at the same time or not. There's no way to fail, because the joy of seeing them figure it out together brings us joy. The joy of seeing them fail at doing that brings us joy. And that's what happened there.
wait, and the way both of our legs go in that direction, it's gonna be perfect.
Yes.
And we'll definitely get hired for Cirque du Soleil because of that.
Yes. Stunt doubles.
Okay, let's do it.
Wow.
And then we hit the twirl.
The what?
The shuffle twirl.
The shuffle twirl.
Good. And now you have another 45 seconds.
You're going to Cirque du Soleil!
Yay!
Actors go sit down.
You're going to Cirque du Soleil!
Thank you so much for watching the first part of this. I'm going to break this into two because there's so much here and I don't want to miss the important stuff that we're getting from this. So let me know in the comments what you liked about this, what you learned, what you think I missed, and join the channel. We have memberships now. You can see the next part on early access, and we have bonus videos planned that are only for members. Plus, every tier of membership gets to join the Discord community. So if you just want to show a little bit of support with a token amount, but come and join the conversation, do that. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. But for now, until next time, keep laughing.